ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। नमस्ते शारदे देवी शृङ्गेरी पुरवासिनी त्वामहं प्रार्थये नित्यं विद्यां बुद्धिं च देहि मे। देवी शारदे ज्ञानप्रदे ज्ञानेश्वरी ज्ञानवाहिनी ज्ञानकोशं समुद्घाटय ज्ञानसुधां सदा वर्षय। अन्तर्ज्योतिर्बहिर्ज्योतिः प्रत्यग्ज्योतिः परात्परः ज्योतिर्ज्योतिर्स्वयं ज्योतिः आत्मज्योतिः शिवोऽस्म्यहम्। हरिः ॐ तत्सत्। Namaste. Our Sanatana Dharma, the way of leading life, is a finely tuned web of culture, customs and traditions, fine arts, literature and science. Sanatana Dharma is Jnana Kosha, the rich treasury of knowledge. Our Guru Parampara, starting from Sadashiva all the way down to the present Guru, is a sturdy boat of knowledge, Jnana Nauka. It is sailing on the river of knowledge, Jnana Vahini. This Jnana Nauka is carrying all the Gurus, Rishis, Munis and Darshanikas, who are all holding Jnana Kosha with utmost care and love. This boat is driven and guided by none other than Jnaneshwari Sharadamba, who is magnetically attracting all individuals by sprinkling Jnana Sudha, the nectar of knowledge, all through the way. Jnana is immortal, Amrita. It is sweet and nourishing like Sudha, milk. This Jnana Sudha is very essential to every individual to realize the supreme truth, Brahma Satya. With the blessings of Devi Sharadamba and our Sringeri Sri Jagat Gurus, SVBF Canada is having the vision of conducting Jnana Sudha as an ongoing satsanga with scholars, revered Swamijis of various ashramas, artists of various fine arts, sharing their knowledge through talks, lectures, demonstrations, workshops, and artistic presentations as well. Let us all take part in sipping this Jnana Sudha to become a real good human being, as well as to grow as divine being.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Dear Sanatana Dharma followers all over the world, on behalf of Sringeri Vidyabharati Foundation, Canada, it gives me immense pleasure to offer a warm homecoming welcome to our beloved Guru and leader, Dharmatma Dr. Yajna Subramaniam. It is homecoming because this is the home of Sharadamba in Canada, which Dr. Yajna Subramaniam is instrumental in building. He would have been personally here, but because of the COVID restrictions, he could not be with us personally today. Dharmatma Yajna Subramanian, who is probably better known as Mani Mama, is not a stranger for most of us. He has been with us, guided us, supported us throughout the last 11 years of our presence here in Canada. We cannot thank him enough for what he has done in setting up this institution. We are ever grateful for that. Now, for the benefit of some of the newcomers in this audience, I will say a few words about Dr. Mani Mama. In North America, if there is one person who has done the most for the promotion, setup, and establishment of Sanatana Dharma and Hindu institutions, there is none more prominent than our Dr. Mani Mama. Actually, his work in this regard extends even to India itself. He is not only instrumental in setting up the 4 Sharda Peethams in the US at Stroudsburg, Detroit, Texas, and California, and ours here in Canada. He has supported construction and rejuvenation of many other temples. His mastery of Vedanta, our scriptures, Bhagavad Gita are exemplary, and he has been conducting classes and pravachans for more than decades. He was the prime force in setting up Goshalas in the US, conducting Veda Sammelanams in the US and India. Our Sringeri Jagadgurus have recognized his efforts in the promotion of Sanatana Dharma with the coveted award Dharmatma, which was not awarded for decades. Mani Mama has been fortunate to be very closely associated with our Mahasannidhanam and Sannidhanam for a long time. We are indeed fortunate today for Mani Mama coming forward and to talk to us about the great accomplishments of our Gurus of Sringeri lineage. We all can benefit from an understanding of our Gurus and be proud of belonging to such traditions. Now, may I request Dharmatma Dr. Yajna Subramaniam to highlight the contribution of our Sringeri Jagadgurus. Namaste and pranams. Welcome, Mani Mama.
Thank you, Paramji. Yeah, you are correct in saying it is homecoming. Yes. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Namaste Sharade Devi Sringeri Puravasini Pamaham Prarthaye Nityam Vidyam Buddhim Cha Dehi Me. भारती करुणापात्रं भारती पदभूषणं भारती पदमारूढं भारती तीर्थमाश्रये विद्याविनयसम्पन्नं वीतरागं विवेकिनं वन्दे वेदान्ततत्त्वज्ञं विधुशेखरभारतीं सद्गुरुचरणारविन्दाभ्यां नमः. Dear Brahma Bandhus, I submit my Ananta Koti Sashtanga Namaskarams at the lotus feet of our Ubaya Jagat Gurus, Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahasanidhanam and Sri Vidhushekara Bharati Sanidhanam on this special occasion when SVBF Canada is celebrating their 11th temple anniversary. Thanks to Dr. Lakshmanan, Dr. Alkananda, Sri Paramji for the opportunity to talk on Sringeri Jagadguru's contributions to Sanatana Dharma. As much as we lay devotees want to understand and gain fulfillment in remembering their contributions to Sanatana Dharma, every Acharya of this Peetham are themselves embodiment of Sanatana Dharma in every aspect of its glory. And they are all Jivan Muktas. Adi Shankaracharya, he said in his Mathanushasana Stotram, Asmat Peeta Samarudha Parivrat Ukta Lakshanaha Ahameva iti Vigneyaha Yasya Deva iti Shrutehe. The one who is seated in my Peetham, Shankaracharya is telling, the one who is seated in my Peetham should know Ahameva, he is myself alone. He is not different from me, Adi Shankara. And Acharya refers to a Veda Vakya from Svetasvatara Upanishad when he says, Yasya Deva iti Shrutehe. I quote, Yasya Deve para bhaktihi yata deva tatha gurau tasya mahatmanaha khatitaha yete artaha prakashante. Only to those Mahatmas who have faith in Ishvara and the Guru, all Vedic wisdom is automatically revealed to them. An Acharya who adores this Peetham is the repository of such wisdom. In the last shloka of Mahanushasanam, Adi Acharya again writes, Krite Vishwaguru Brahma, Tretayam Rishi Sattamaha, Dwapare Vyasayeva Syat, Kalau Atra Bhavami Aham. In the Krita Yuga, Jagadguru, Vishwaguru was Sakshat Brahmaji himself. In Treta Yuga, Rishi Sattamaha, we can perhaps take it as Mahavishnu or Dattatreya. And in Dwapara Yuga, Vyasacharya was the Vishwaguru. And in Kali Yuga, Kalau Atra Bhavami Aham. In Kali Yuga, I myself am Vishwaguru. Every Acharya of our Peetham is Shankaracharya himself, Pratyaksha Parameshwara Swarupam. Great Panditas alone can attempt to glorify such scholars. Acharyas of such tapas alone can relate to such tapasvis. Sishyas like us can only express our ultimate gratitude to the Lord and can only offer our Ananta Koti Namaskarams at their lotus feet again and again and again. According to the legends, Sakshat Parameshwara himself took the avatar of Adi Shankara to protect Sanatana Dharma and to teach Vedanta Siddhanta. Even though he spent only 32 years on earth in physical form, the contributions he had made is unparalleled. Swami Vidyaranya says in his Shankara Vijaya, Muktva Maunam Vatavitapino Mulato Nishpatantihi Shambhor Murtihi Charati Bhuvane Shankaracharya Rupa. Lord Dakshinamurti, the teacher of Atma Vidya through Maunam, Mauna Vyakya, left his place of meditation and is now moving about in the form of Shankaracharya. Born in Kaladi Kshetra to the divine Dampatis, Aryamba and Shivaguru, Shankaracharya mastered all Vedas by the age of 8 and before 12 mastered all the Shastras, wrote all Bhashyas before 16 and before the age of 32 traveled by foot 3 times the entire Bharatavarsha and during that time won over 72 Durmatas. and did Dharma Prabodhana across the country. And to continue this Dharma Prachara Sampradaya permanently, he established Amnaya Pitas across Bharatadesha and at the end ascended the throne of Sarvakya Pitam in Kashmir and attained Mukti in Kedara Kshetra. It is our immeasurable fortune that he is our Guru. During these years, he wrote 18 Bhashyas or commentaries, including the authoritarian texts of Tattva Jnana, namely the Prasthanatrayi Bhashyas. Srimad Bhagavad Gita called the Smriti Prasthana, the Dashopanishads, Upanishads called the Shruti Prasthana, and Brahma Sutras called the Nyaya Prasthana. He did not stop with these because those who required qualification to approach those Bhashyas are very rare. And so for the benefit of everyone, he wrote many Prakarana Granthas called elucidative texts, about 23 of them, like Tattva Bodha, Atma Bodha, Viveka Chodamani, and wrote many stotras, about 70 and odd, on all divinities, like Ganesha Pancharatnam, Dakshinamurti Stotram, Saundarya Lahari, Shivananda Lahari, so many. Since Acharya wrote a lot of Bhashyas, he is more known as Bhashyakara, as Veda Vyasa is known as Sutrakara, as he wrote the Brahma Sutras. Bhashyas are very technical and requires understanding of Vyakarana, grammar, Nyaya, Tarkashastras, logic, Mimamsa, inquiry, and all that. Therefore, some people generally ask a question: in what way Shankaracharya's teachings are applicable to the 21st century? Our Mahasannidhanam answers this. Why only for 21st century? Even after many more centuries to come, Shankaracharya's teachings will benefit everyone. He gave such a great Upadesha that we need to extend and understand, follow. Among the many texts that he wrote, there is a text called Prashnottara Ratnamalika. Question, answer. Prashna, Uttara. Question, answer. In that format. And there he asked a question: what is Durlabham, difficult to gain for a person? And he himself answers: 4 things are very difficult to gain, and if one gains them and bring them to practice, it will benefit them enormously. And what those 4 things are? Number 1, Dhanam Priyavak Sahitam. How one should spend one's wealth. Based on one's own Punya Papas, one gets some Aishwarya, wealth. How to spend it? Many people spend in many ways, wasteful ways, adharmic ways, and all those also. Only giving dhanam to a satpatram is the way that will bring shreyas to a person. And that dhanam also should be given how? With priyavak sahitam, with kind words, respectful words. That is very rare to get. Durlabha. People seldom think it is not the amount that is significant for punyam. It is the attitude and the way of giving. Therefore, dhanam priyavak sahitam. And number 2 is jnanam agarvam. Knowledge. Jnanam agarvam, with humility, without garvam. Generally, even for the greatest scholar, the vidya garvam is very prevalent. For example, if there are 2 PhDs in 2 different subjects, each one might think that my knowledge in my subject is much more than the other person's knowledge in his own subject. Who can claim that they can know everything? Only the Lord alone is Sarvajnaha. So, Jnanam Agarvam. Knowledge with humility is Durlabha. Then the 3rd thing is Shamanvidam Shauryam. Strength, Balam, coupled with patience. One can fight with everyone because one has courage and Balam. Who doesn't commit mistakes? Everyone knowingly or unknowingly does. Therefore, one may have Balam, but one should have patience. Then the 4th thing is Vittam Tyaga Sametam. Vittam is wealth. Wealth is with lot of people. But the attitude of tyaga, sacrifice, seems very rare. Try to earn that attitude. Therefore, Shankaracharya says, Dhanam priyavaksahitam, jnanam agarvam, kshamanvitam shauryam, vittam tyagasametam, durlabam chatur padram. Acharya says, all these are durlabam and one should try to earn these qualities. Then the life will be pavitram, badram. Now, can anyone say these teachings are not required for anyone at any time? Who will not benefit by such teachings? No one should have the opinion that Shankaracharya wrote all the granthas for the benefit of only a selected few. His teachings are all universal. Our exhibition of our kritagnyata, gratitude, to such an avatara purusha is only through namaskarams to him, punah punaha, and following his teachings. And to propagate the Sanatana Dharma in all times, he established Amnaya Matas, and first one in Sringeri, Dakshinamnaya Sharata Peetam in the south, with Sureshwaracharya as the first Acharya. Then Dwaraka Sharada Peetam in Gujarat in the west with Padmabadacharya, and Puri Govardhan Peetam in the east with Astamalakacharya, and Badrika Ashramam in Uttarakhand with Tvatakacharya. All the Acharyas follow the footsteps of Adi Shankara, as he himself said in the Amnayamat Shloka, Ahameva iti Vigneyaha. They all did Desha Sanchara and did Dharma Prabodha like Adi Shankara himself. The Sringeri website gives a comprehensive treatise on all the Acharyas, particularly during our times, traveling to even very small villages in the Bharata Desha. Sri Jeshta Mahasannidhanam Sri Sri Abhinava Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji, the 35th Acharya of the Peetam, Sri Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahasannidhanam, the 36th Acharya, and Sri Sri Vidhushekara Bharati Sannidhanam, the 37th Acharya, have been and are continuing the same tradition as laid by Adi Acharya. The story of Sureshwaracharya is very revealing, seen in Shankara Digvijaya. A Purva Mimamsaka and very strict believer of Karmakanda. He believed that through karma itself one can gain moksha, liberation, and no need for jnanam, self-knowledge at all. Sureshwaracharya was known as Mandana Mishra in his Purvashrama. And after getting defeated in a debate with Adi Shankara, Mandan Mishra renounced his family life and became a sannyasi. And he was a Vartikakara, commentator, meticulously and critically examining Adi Shankara's works themselves, his own guru's works. He wrote several Vartikas, commentaries on Shankara Bhashyas, for example, Brihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya, Bhashya Vartika, Sambandha Bhashya Vartika, Taittiriya Upanishad Bhashya Vartika, Manasollasa of Dakshinamurti Stotram, and then Panchikarana Vartika. And his non-commentary work, Naitkarma Siddhi, is a manual of Advaita Vedanta in the with 4 chapters in poetry and also with the contents in the prose form. As the first Acharya of Sri Sharada Peetam, himself being a Purva Mimamsaka, ritualistic practices of Sringeri even today are followed so meticulously, with all Acharyas adhering to the core of Sanatana Dharma. Because Karmakanda is very important, since as Adi Acharya says in Viveka Chudamani, Chittasya Shuddhaye Karma na Vastupalabhyate. The path to liberation is from karmi, an action-oriented person with self-interest, to a karma yogi first. Karma being the same with a different attitude of duty or Ishvara Arpana, and then to Jnana Yoga, pursuit of self-knowledge, gain Jnanam and gain Moksha. So Chitta Shuddhi, Chitta Ekagrata, Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti, Viveka, Vairagya, Shatka Sampatti, Mumukshutvam are all the qualifications before the pursuit of Jnana Yoga. The 8-day debate of Adi Shankara and Mandana Mishra and other instances as given in Shankara Digvijayam are extremely revealing. Then following him, Jagadguru Nityabodhagana Mahaswamiji in the 834 time frame. Then Jagadguru Jnanagana Mahaswamiji, about 850-849 time frame. He wrote a text called Tattva-shuddhi, which was held in very high esteem by the 16th century Vedantin and philosopher and great Acharya, Sri Appaya Dikshita. He is probably a record of the Acharya's exposition of his Sishyas. Then all the following Acharyas were all great polemics. Independent works on Advaita and elucidations of Shankara Bhashyas and Sureshwara Acharya's Vatikas, books on various Siddhis, some of the vast literature of Advaita, and set the norm for future writers also. And the 10th century Acharya Sri Vidyatirtha was called Maheshwara, who was the breath for Veda, by Sri Sayanacharya, who wrote the Veda Bhashyas. His disciple, Sri Bharati Tirtha, he established 8 matas and installed 8 of his own disciples as matatipatis. And 3 years later, in around 1331, Sri Vidyatirtha gave sannyasa to Bharati Tirtha's Purvashrama's elder brother, Sri Vidyaranya. So the 11th Acharya, Sri Bharati Tirtha, he occupied the throne for 47 years until 1380. The Acharya's reign was one of the most momentous periods in the history of the matter. It was under the guidance of his successor designate, Sri Vidyaranya, that the great Hindu empire of Vijayanagar was founded in 1336. He consecrated a golden image of Sharadamba in the place of the sandalwood image installed during the time of Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada. During the time of founding of the Vijayanagar, the Vidya Shankara temple also was built. In 1346, King Harihara, one of the brothers Harihara Bukka, Harihara presented 9 villages to His Holiness, and on the occasion of the consecration of Sri Vidya Shankara temple, His Holiness gave them all away to 120 learned scholars who settled near the mud, and this was the beginning of the present town of Sringeri. Why I mentioned this is essentially to allude to this point, how the present town of Sringeri had evolved. And Sri Vidyaranya was the 12th Jagadguru of the Peetham from 1380. While Vidyaranya was doing tapas at a place near Matanga Hill, someplace like that, the warrior brothers Harihara and Bukka, the sons of Sangama, approached him for guidance. Earlier, they had been taken prisoner and led to Delhi. But the Delhi ruler, recognizing their valor, sent them back to the south as the heads of an army to contain the rebellions brewing in Deccan. And seizing this opportunity, the two brothers asserted their independence. So with the guidance and blessings of Sri Vidyaranya, they established their own independent kingdom with its capital on the left bank of Tunga River. And following the sage's counsel, Vidyaranya's counsel, they shifted their capital to the right bank, naming it Vidyanagara as a mark of devotion and gratitude to the Acharya. The city, popularly known as Vijayanagara, or the city of victory, was planned in accordance with the directions of Jagadguru Vidyaranya, in the form of actually a Sri Chakra with the Virupaksha temple and with 9 gates all around. So Sringeri had a cluster of hermitages, became a spiritual imperium with state jurisdiction during his pontificate. To the Vyakhyana Simhasana, the throne of transcendental wisdom, as we may call, was added secular authority over the newly created Samsthana. It became a great Samsthana, Sringeri Samsthana. Sri Vidyaranya was a great force in the regeneration of our spiritual, moral, and cultural values. He built temples at Sringeri and Hampi, and also established mutts in several other places also. Sri Vidyaranya's literary contributions, they are vast. They comprise of lot of works on Vyakarana, Mimamsa, Nyaya, Smriti Granthas, Puranas, astronomy, astrology, Mantra Sastras, music, various darshanas, and Advaita Vedanta. His Panchadashi, consisting of 15 topics, is an important work in Advaita Vedanta. Of course, Shankara Digvijaya we all know. Jivan Mukti Viveka is another great work, and several others. After Sri Vidyaranya, for 2 centuries, until mid-1500s, Vijayanagara Empire flourished with the guidance and blessings of the then Acharyas. Not much historical information is available today regarding those Acharyas after Vidyaranya till that time. And during the reign of Nrisimha Bharati number 3, after the Talakota battle, Vijayanagar Empire got dismembered and local chiefs became independent rulers. And in the imperial capital, the Guru was shown all honors pertaining to royalty, including the Addapallaki, palanquin. Nobody else goes in an Addapallaki except Acharya. So the teachings of Adi Shankara were canalized through several monastic establishments whose heads were disciples of Acharyas of Sringeri. And Sri Abhinavan Nrisimha Bharati Mahaswamiji in the 1600s, he was an expert in Mantra Shastra and wrote a scholarly commentary on Shiva Gita. He painted with a piece of turmeric a figure of Lord Ganesha on one of the front pillars of Malahanikarasura temple. Because there was no Ganapati Vigraha in that temple, he painted with the turmeric with hand. He drew a figure of Mahaganapati and worshipped it. Ever since, the outline of Ganesha on the pillar has come to be known as Samba Ganapati. Even today, Acharyas worship that Ganapati first only and then only go inside to do the Abhishekam or Puja to Malahanikarasura temple. I have seen it this time myself. The Acharya founded the Math also in Shivaganga, which also is continuing with a very continuous lineage. And then Sri Sachidananda Bharati, who is his successor, he was a native of Madurai district, because there is only one Acharya to my knowledge comes from the Tamil Nadu area, Madurai district, and became a very sound Vedic scholar in his boyhood itself. At the age of 16, he went to Sringeri and he became the Acharya, the 25th Acharya of the Pita. And he visited towns like Aikari and Kollur to worship goddess Mookambika. And actually there are many instances that reveal the power of his tapas to protect Sringeri, because there were so many other forces around. To protect Sringeri, he wrote several stotras and also built a shrine for Bhavani in Malahanikarasura temple and started Rathotsava and all. Actually, why I wanted to mention this is, when I had a discussion with Swamiji regarding seeking his advice as to what Devi Pratishtha I should do in Stroudsburg, because Girija Kalyanam is popular in Sringeri. We have got Chandramolishwara, so I wanted to have the Devi. And I asked him what Devi I should do Pratishtha. Immediately, Swamiji said, do Pratishtha of Bhavani there. And Bhavani was done Pratishtha by this Acharya in Malahanikarasura temple. So I was so grateful to Acharya for suggesting that Devi to be done Pratishtha in our Stroudsburg temple also. And then the Sachidananda Bharati Swamiji in 1700s, early 1700s, his active association with the Maratha ruling class, with the Mutt during his period, and that brought lot of visibility and then stretch of the Mutt over several other regions. And at that time, Sri Krishnaraja Udayar of Mysore described this Acharya as the ruler of the Yoga empire, seated on the jeweled throne of Sringapura. That was the acclaim he was given by that Maharaja. And his Mookambika Stotra and Sharada Stotra, commemorating the Navaratri celebrations, are 2 gems of poetry. Great works commemorating the Navaratri celebrations, Sringeri. His festivals in the Sringeri temples were attended by many chieftains from all over. And one of them is the Setupati of Ramanathapuram, who installed the Linga in Rameshwaram by the name Vidyashankara. So these are a lot of important informations relating to the official record of Sringeri's association with the Rameshwara Kshetra. And during the reign of Sri Sachidananda Bharati, number 3, even emperors like Hyder Ali, Tipu, they had enormous respect and devotion to the then Acharyas of the matter. And then Sri Vriddha Narasimha Bharati Swamiji, Vriddha Narasimha Bharati number 8 in that so many Narasimha Bharatis, and he was the 32nd Acharya. He was born, I think, somewhere in late 70s, about close to 1800. He had walked all the way to Kashi to learn the Shastras from learned Pandits. And the British administration, they accorded great reverence and escort during his pilgrimage to Nasik, Dwaraka, Kurukshetra, Kashi, Badri, Jagannath. So various places he visited. And he visited, they treated him as official guest. And he visited Hyderabad. And the first proclamation issued by the Nizam referred to the auspicious tour of the Acharya and called him as the tour as of the most holy personage who could dispense blessings. I'm reading from the quotation. Personage who could dispense blessings from where he stayed, but in the fullness of his grace had condescended to tour the kingdom of Hyderabad. That was the citation the Nizam gave at that time. And when the Acharya was 60 years, he ordained a young lad, young almost not a lad, child, Shiva Swami, at the age of 7 or 8, to Sannyasa Ashrama as Sri Sachidananda Shivabhinavya Narasimha Bharati Swami. Actually, the site describes the name, such a long name, how that was also given to him. And the Jagadguru and his successor designate, that is Vriddha Narasimha Bharati and his successor, they went on an extended tour of Bharatavarsha for 12 years, visiting many districts in the south. And Sri Sachidananda Shivabhinavya Narasimha Bharati Mahaswamiji, the 33rd Swamiji, he had an extraordinary mastery of Shastras, a great tapaswin, a great yogi. The Swamiji start, actually the story goes when the Swamiji was very young, when he was being initiated, because the rituals are all very, very, very involved rituals during Sannyasa Swikarana. I had the blessed opportunity to be closely watching the recent Sannyasa Swikarana of our Sri Vishwekara Bharati Sannidhanam. I know how involved it was, very, very involved procedure. And when this Sachidananda Shivabhinavya Narasimha Swamiji was only 8 years old, when he had to go through the entire ritual, it seems the night he was so fatigued and tired. And when he was, as in the tiredness, when he was dozing or sleeping, without his knowledge from his mouth, the word Sarvoham, Sarvoham, Sarvoham was coming. Acharya Vriddha Narasimha Swamiji was so much astonished by hearing these words from the small child to be sannyasi now. So it is due to him complete works of Adi Shankara were published. We should be ever grateful to Sachidananda Shivabhinavya Narasimha Bharati Swamiji, because all the works of Adi Shankara were published only during his period. He established Kaladi as the birthplace, without doubt, of Adi Shankara. And he consecrated the temples for Adi Shankara and Sharadamba in Kaladi. And the then Vanivilas Press in Sri Rangam, they published all the works of Adi Shankara. He set up Padashalas, schools for Vedas and Shastras in Bangalore. Actually, in Bangalore, he had done a lot of work in terms of building up the place. And His Holiness, he adorned the Vyakhyana Simhasana from 1879 to 1912 and toured extensively, many times, to various places and guided the people. The Jagadguru has already fixed upon Narasimha Sastri, another young person born in Sringeri, for nomination as his successor to the Pida. Narasimha Sastri was studying in the Sanskrit college in Bangalore, in the Sanskrit school. On March 20, 1912, Sachidananda Shivabhinavya Narasimha Bharati Swamiji attained Vidayamukti, and he was described as a prince among Atmajnanis, an exemplar of bhakti, a veritable Bharati, means Saraswati in knowledge, an adept in yoga, Sachidananda Bharati Shivabhinava Nrsimha Bharati Swamiji was universally hailed as an avatara of Adi Shankara himself. His universal compassion, sympathy, and benevolence drew people of all religions. Muslims and Christians also saw him as a saint full of purity and godliness. The hymns sung by the Jagadguru on different occasions, they have been published as an anthology under the name Bhakti Sudha Tarangini. Then Jagadguru Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamiji, the 34th Swamiji, I think he became the Jagadguru in 1912. He was both a scholar and a saint of outstanding eminence. As is believed by many people, he had the rare power to transform by a mere glance. People, even our Acharya Mahasannidhanam has narrated even similar to that. Even the non-believers of God would be turned to believers. He was able to explain even the toughest concepts of Vedanta with great ease, even to lay people. He wrote commentary on Viveka Chudamani, and his method of worshipping the Lord served for everyone to follow as an example. For example, the Narasimha Jayanti, he started to do from noon to dusk because that is the time Narasimha Avatara took place. So His Holiness wanted to provide more time for his own tapas. And placing complete faith in Sharada and his Guru, he withdrew into solitude, occasionally coming out to teach the Bhashyas to deserving disciples. And at the age of 40, he nominated his successor, Sri Abhinava Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji. On September 26, 1954, the Jivan Mukta, Sri Chandrasekhara Bharati Mahaswamiji, attained Videha Mukti also. There are stories related to how this all happened. They are all there on the website. Interestingly, his birth, the date of birth, his Upanayana, his Sannyasa Swikarana, and Videha Mukti, all of them took place on Sundays. Actually, the anniversary of the day will ever fall on Mahalaya Amavasya day, the day of the annual Abhisheka of Sharadamba prior to the Navaratri celebrations. Actually, in our place also in Stroudsburg, we follow the same convention. Mahalaya Amavasya, we have Abhishekam. And after Navaratri, the Purnami, we have Abhishekam. And also on the date of Kumbhabhishekam, we have Abhishekam. So the junior Acharya, Abhinav Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji, he became highly proficient in learning and took over the spiritual and secular affairs of the mind. Very young age itself. Sri Abhinav Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji, the 35th Jagadguru of the Peetham, was a perfect embodiment of Dharma. Compassion. I have heard many stories related to this compassion, patience, fortitude, and a great administrator and manager to guide the affairs of the mind. Even though from the beginning, Acharyas of Sringeri have undertaken a lot of tours, pilgrimages and trips, it is unique of Sri Abhinav Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji, who had so extensively and repeatedly traveled from Kanyakumari to Kashmir, establishing branches of the mud in many parts of the country. He is the only Amnaya Peethadipati after Shankaracharya to visit Nepal. His Holiness also organized in 1979, I think May 1979, during a Shankaris Jayanti festival, a historic summit at Sringeri with Shankaracharyas of the other three Amnaya Peethams, Dwaraka, Badri, and Puri, established by Adi Shankaracharya. Tremendous developments took place in the 100-year-old Padashala at Sringeri. To propagate Sanskrit, he established Sura Saraswati Sabha. The finances of the mutt were not in good shape when he took over, for various reasons. And added to it, the Inam abolition, the privy purse and all those things got abolished also. And land reforms brought fresh problems also during his time. But he resolved the problems and put the mutt on a strong footing by very efficient management and administration of the affairs. Because at that time, it's a huge challenge. His disciple, Jagadguru Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahasannidhanam, present Mahasannidhanam, the 36th Pontiff, is a saint par excellence and the Sarvabhauma among Acharyas. Incarnated in 1951 into a family of Vedic scholars, He left home in 1966 when he was only about completed 14 years and surrendered unto the 35th pontiff at Ujjain, where His Holiness was then camping. And after serving the Guru for about 8 years, he was given Sannyasa Diksha in 1974, and he continued under the divine care and guidance of his Guru for about 15 years. And with his ascension to the Adhisthana Simhasana in 1989 as the 36th Jagat Guru, Sri Bharati Tirtha Mahaswamiji has been guiding the spirit behind the innumerable spiritual aspirants since then. An erudite scholar in Tarka, Mimamsa, Vyakarana, Dharmashastras, Vedas, Vedanta, proficient in Sanskrit and various other languages, composer of many hymns in praise of his Guru and various divinities, and above all, a Sarvabhauma among Acharyas is our Mahasannidhan. His Holiness is also a versatile linguist and gives discourses in Sanskrit, Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Hindi. An able administrator, His Holiness sees to it that the mutt fulfills its sacred purpose of sustenance and propagation of Sanatana Dharma as laid by the Adi Acharya. He has toured various parts of the country many times to bless the devotees and honor scholars proficient in all aspects of Sanatana Dharma, such as Veda, Shastra scholars, Kirtankars, Varkaris, musicians, and so many. I had the blessed opportunity to accompany Acharya in a few of the camps and tours. I understood how involved those pilgrimage tours are for him and also the people of the matter. And Ganapati Vakyartha Sadas of very learned scholars in Sringeri. I have attended a few of them, all in Sanskrit, extremely high level of all kinds of all subjects. Acharya, and there is a tradition in the Math that during the Ganapati Vakyartha Sadas, the presiding Acharya should not only be presiding and moderating the discussions, should also be able to discuss along with the Panditas as a Pandita also. That is very unique. And the subjects, they range from all kinds of things, from Vyakarana to so many things, all kinds of Shastras, Tarka, Mimamsa, Vedanta, everything. And the way the Sadas, the formation of the formula of the Sadas, how it is being conducted, that is also extant without any book or anything, everything all by heart. Amazing. And annual Veda Sammelans in 9 states across the entire country, honoring over 3,000 scholars going to their own places, because I have attended about 17 of them continuously. And because of the pandemic, I could not go a couple of times. But last year, maybe only one I attended in February in Andhra. And that's it. And now we have to resume again. And he also instituted sumptuous cash rewards for recitation of the entire Bhagavad Gita by heart. Cash awards for Bhagavan Nama Lekhana Yajna among the masses. A rickshaw driver, a taxi driver, when he in between waiting for another ride, another customer, he can write Ramanama Yajna, Ramanama Japa or Shivanama Japa in books supplied by us. And after completing that, when he submits back to the mat, they give him also rewards for doing that. How nice a way to spend one's time. And also for recitation of the Bhagavad Gita by heart. And regardless of age, gender, caste, everywhere. In the most people who participate in the recitation of Bhagavad Gita by heart, many of them are ladies coming from various parts of India. And Acharya himself examines them. Extremely rare. He himself, to have a few minutes, a few seconds of a glimpse of darshanam is so dear. And when somebody is proficient in Gita, learned the Gita by heart and comes for a test examination, Acharya himself examines them. And then instant cash awards are given to all those people who complete recitation after examined by Acharya. Building on all, because Upanishads are all in the clouds. Normally when they describe about the Upanishads, they call it as, I don't know, Paramji, I am exceeding. You said 45 minutes. I have gone a little beyond already. I may take some more minutes. They normally talk about the Vedas as Prabhu Samhitam. They are like commanders, like Rajas. They will command you. Satyam Vada, Dharmam Chara. That's what they will say. But the Smriti Granthas, like the Puranas and all those things, Bhagavad Gita and all, they say the same message, but in a way that you can relate to them. When Veda says Satyam Vada, Purana will give the story of Harish Chandra to relate to you how important to follow Satya, even at the most excruciating circumstances. And then this is called the Suhrit Samhitam, the concern of a Suhrit, a well-wisher, without expecting anything in return from you. And the third category of Granthas, they are called Kavyas, and they are called Kanta Samhitam. Kanta Samhitam is the same message as told in the Gita and the Smriti are given also by them, but with the concern of a loving wife or a spouse and also a loving friend. The same thing is told. And they, with respect to dealing, Bhagavad Gita is a thing which can be read by anybody. There is no qualification needed in terms of learning like a Veda mantra. Whereas here, this same information is given, the quintessence of the Upanishad, highest Vedanta is given, but can be practiced by everyone. So Acharya wanted to bring that knowledge to everyone. So he made this Gita by heart program to give also, encourage them by giving cash awards and testing anyone who will come, regardless of age, gender, or caste, or anything from any region. And building an all-stone temple for Adi Shankara in Sringeri, a 127 feet Rajagopuram, and there's a 32 feet tall granite Murti of Adi Shankara with modern amenities in the Shankara Hill. I visited all those places. So nice, modernly, so nice. And gold-clad Vimanams of Sharada, Adi Shankara, all that. The Guru Nivas to facilitate the darshan of the several hundreds of devotees visiting every day and thousands on special occasions. The Advaita Research Center, preservation of all the old texts in print and in palm leaves. I visited all these places myself. I have direct knowledge of them. Gorakshana, Goshalas, various sevas and offerings to Sharadamba and other devatas, religious anushtanas, Hatirudra, Sahasra Chanti, Aida Chanti, Koti Archana, name it. In our dharma, Ishta Dharma means all these yagas, pujas and all that thing, they are called the Ishta Dharmas. And the Purta Dharmas, they are the social work, hospitals, schools, orphanages, they are called, these are called Purta Dharma. So Ishta Dharma and Purta Dharma are part of a religion. Both are equally emphasized. So when we say somebody is religious, that means you should be following both. And accordingly, Annadanam to several thousands and midday meals to 20,000 and our school children in nearby schools every day with a very specially equipped kitchen with lot of extreme good amenities, even using solar power. And monthly assistance to poor, deserving families across the country. Employee benefits, bonuses, living assistance. And office functioning professionally under the able leadership of the administrator. Ayurvedic hospitals, general specialized hospitals, cancer, dialysis, dental centers, old age homes, orphanages, assistance, education to children of prisoners, physically challenged, schools, colleges. I had the opportunity to visit many of them. It is a great blessing that we all live at a time of this compassionate sage of the highest spiritual order, a spring of gushing grace from Sringeri. It seems His Holiness Sri Abhinav Vidyatirtha Mahaswamiji remarked about his choice of his successor, which is the highest responsibility of any Acharya, is to choose his successor. And when he talked about it, he said, I passed in first class in my choice. What a selection, who really brought a golden age in the history of the matter. And very graciously, the present Mahasannidhanam, he remarked the same way about his choice of his successors to designate the 37th Acharya, Sri Vidushekara Bharati Sannidhanam. I attended the function. As His Holiness himself said on the day of appointment, Uttaradhikari Niyamana, it was a public function, and he mentioned it was the prerana of Sharadamba herself that he chose his successor. What a choice it is. And he especially mentioned he didn't look at any horoscope, he didn't see whether this person has got the sannyasa yoga and all that thing. He only went by the prerana given to him by Sharadamba. He announced it like that in that meeting. What a choice he made. I was so blessed to witness the whole celebration in very close quarters. It was very emotional and fulfilling experience, to put it very humbly. As Adi Acharya himself said in the Matamnaya Shasana Stotra, Asmat Pita Samaruda Parivrat Uttalakshanaha Ahameva iti Vigneyaha Yasya Deva iti Shrutehe. Ahameva. That is what Adi Acharya expected of them to be. Every one of them are, have been, and are continuing to be like that visionary as Adi Shankaracharya himself. We all should reflect on that statement of Adi Acharya and see all our Acharyas are Shankara himself, the Pratyaksha Parameshwara himself. Yo Vedadau Swara Prokto Vedante Cha Pratipitaha Tasya Pratipilina Parasa Maheshwara Sri Krishna.
Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Namaskaram Mani Mama. This is Ravi.
Hello Ravi, how are you?
Thank you. And it was such an enlightening talk. Although my knowledge about the propagation of Sanatana Dharma by Sringeri Jagadguru was limited, today listening to your enlightening talk makes me so fulfilled. Thank you so much. We don't have many questions, but you had mentioned earlier that you had another meeting at 4 o'clock. Do we have time for a couple of questions?
You can have, no problem. Actually, what happened was because of the Father's Day, the 4 o'clock meeting, they cancelled it actually last night.
Oh, that's
so
good.
I am free.
Okay, thank you. We all know the immense contribution of Shankaracharya in reviving and restoring Sanatana Dharma, and also all the Jagat Gurus of Sringeri. But of late, we have come across many negative movements against Hinduism, more particularly about Brahmanism. What do you think Jagat Guru's advice to us when such thing comes up? How do we react to that? There have been many people reacting to that, and it goes on like a war. But we have never come across any statement by either Sringeri Jagat Gurus or any other Matadipadis about these negative things that's going on. Recently also in Bangalore, there was a Kannada actor who said that we have to destroy Brahmanism. So, and there are like-minded people joining him, supporting him. So how do we react during those times? And what is Jagat Guru's, what will be Jagat Guru's advice to the followers?
There is nothing new in this. Jagat Guru will not recognize this as an issue at all. They were there right from Rama's times, Krishna's times, and today also. What is new in this?
Right.
You exercise patience and follow your Swadharma. When everybody follows their Swadharma, there is no issue at all. When you want to poke into somebody else's thing only, there is a problem. You follow your Swadharma. Okay. And what is Brahmanism and not Brahmanism? There is nothing. Who is a Brahmana really? Janmana jayate shudraha karmana dvija uchyate vetapatena viprasyat brahmano brahma veda. By birth, everybody is a Shudra.
Yeah.
They are all like, they live according to nature, at their own likes and dislikes. Then when they get an Upanaya Samskara, this is true for all the three Varnas. Then they take a Dvijanma, second birth, where they have got code of conduct, how to conduct oneself, how to behave oneself. All those rules are given essentially to make them a refined person, from a Prakrita Purusha to a Samskrita Purusha. Who will not like it?
Correct.
Don't you want to be refined? Everybody wants to be refined.
Yes.
And Shastra taught them, if they left it, who can be responsible? Some people want to follow that today. Some people, they don't want to follow it. But whose mistake it is? It makes you a Samskrita Purusha, a refined person. And Veda Patena Viprasyat. By learning scriptures, whether it is Brahmin, anybody else, doesn't matter. They can at best become what? A scholar. Viprasyat. Brahmano Brahma Vedana. Only the person who knows Brahman alone is the Brahman. And is there any restriction for somebody who have Brahman knowledge? No. Brahman is above caste, creed, gender, anything. You can be a Christian, you can be a Jnani. You can be any other religion. It is beyond Jnana. It is beyond all these differences, all these man-made differences. So they will be there. You follow your thing. You don't go middle with them because there is no need. You follow your dharma. And that's it. People will always say something or that. They are always there. It's not new.
Okay. You mentioned about the Bhagavad Gita competition where the participants are more women, and Acharya himself examines all of them. Now, do you think in Sringeri in the future, probably with some conditions, allow ladies to chant Veda mantras?
You have to understand. I told in the Bhagavad Gita is considered a Smriti Prasthana. Adi Shankara wrote Bhashyas on 3 canonical texts. One is Shruti Prasthana. Shruti Prasthana is Veda Prasthana. Veda mantras are Shruti Prasthana. Smriti Prasthana is Bhagavad Gita. And between Bhagavad Gita and Vedas, there is no difference. Content is same. Whatever is given in the Vedas, it was extracted by Lord Krishna and then put it in Bhagavad Gita, so that everybody can follow. When it is Shruti, Shruti is Vedas, Shruti is not man-made. When it is not man-made, we have no privilege and also liberty to handle it the way we want. We have to handle the way it has been told in the same Shastras. Whatever it says as requirements, you follow. Whether it a lady and the person who is not following Anushtana, both are not qualified for learning Vedas. That should be clearly understood. Just because somebody is born in a Brahmin family, he cannot claim that I will learn Veda. If he has been done Upanayana Samskara, that is number one. These are all called Veda Samskaras. They need to have that thing done to get the qualification to do Veda thing. Veda Dhyayanam, Veda Vicharam, Veda Anushtanam, all those things can be done only by those people who fulfill those qualifications. A person who may be born in such a family, but is not following any of this, there is no difference between him and the other people like Strees and all, not have the qualification. But easiest marga is what? But the demands of the Anushtanas are very tough. For example, somebody wants to perform an yaga, you know the type of Anushtana they have to follow. My God, very tough. Very, very tough. But Bhagavad Gita learning gives the same message. What more you want? Because otherwise people, if they think that is forbidden to them, it is not forbidden to them. They are not qualified to approach. Because it is like that. It is Veda. Veda Pramanam is not given by an individual. No Acharya wrote Vedas. Veda Vyasa himself did not write the Vedas. They are supposed to be Yasya Vedas. The very breath of the Lord. No authorship. So whatever that Shastra says, do we have the authority to change it? We cannot. But Smriti Granthas are man-made. And they give the same, that's why I said the Prabhu Samhidam, Sugrat Samhidam and Kanta Samhidam. Even whatever is said in the Sugrat Samhidam, the Smritis, Kanta Samhidam will lighten it even more. Kalidasa will make it like a street drama for ordinary people to enjoy it. They don't have to even read the Puranas. They can see a drama and get the culture, get the dharma. So, because people should not think it is all, because it's all lack of understanding properly. That's the thing. Why I should go by the hard way if I can get the same information through something else, which is akin to me, easy to me, for me to grasp. But moksha can be got only by self-knowledge, to know I am Brahman. For that, there is no requirement. Is moksha denied to a person who is not a Brahmin? No. Anybody, moksha, anybody can get. It is devoid of gender, devoid of caste, devoid of caste. Nothing, none of those. Religion also. Anybody who is a good being. If he understands that I am Brahman. If he cannot, it is at knowledge level. There is nothing to be done. To gain moksha, what should be done? Nothing to be done. You have the knowledge, you got it. Right. So that is Smriti Granthas. All the Smriti Granthas are more friendly, easy to follow. That is why all these Kirtankars, why Acharya goes and attends, I mentioned those. Kirtankars, Sammelanams, he conducts. Pauranikas, they can relate to common people, Smritis. So you have to propagate them, support them. So that each common man will relate to that. If every Pandita recites only Veda mantras in the mud, how can ordinary people can get the benefit? Why Acharya wrote all other Sotra Granthas and all? He would have just written the Bhashyas and kept quiet. Why he established all four Amaya-pitas? All these are only with the welfare of the people in mind. But Acharya, we cannot say Acharya should not follow his Anushtana. He will follow it. It is Swadharma. It's the Swadharma you have to follow. Everybody has that Swadharma. They have to follow. If they are not following, don't criticize the others. This is open to everyone. There is somebody in the chat room. Some question is there?
Yeah, just two more questions from the chat room.
Yes.
Why does Shankaracharya not cross the 7 seas?
Actually, this is, why did he not cross? I would not even address that question, because even to go across at that time, to cross the seas and all, it's not ordinary, right? He lived only for 32 years physically. And in the 32 years, how much he has accomplished. Even within the Bharat Desha, to travel 3 times, to go from one place to another place, how much time it takes by walk, and also with all those forests and all that thing and rivers, the roads, even that is very tough. How to go across? But
no, in present Shankaracharyas, why
no,
do they?
Actually, normally they don't travel across, because the reason is this Dharmanushtana cannot be properly followed. Because when you go outside, you have to compromise on a lot of anushtanas, and that may be difficult. So for them, they cannot make compromises. You and I can. I as an individual, I might do anything, but in the talk today, how I am sitting?
Yeah.
Because I am talking in the mud.
Yes.
And I am putting as my background what? Adi Amba's sanctum. So now you will be seeing me as if I am talking from her sanctum.
That's right.
Can I sit the way you are sitting? We should be sensitive to all that. Because we are talking dharma. And when it is dharma, we have to be very sensitive. That is why even certain places, when they do certain functions, which may not be akin to the way our mutt would do it, I would even not participate in those things, even if they request me, because then it will be Sringeri chairman participating in an event like this, which is done in some other format, which is not done in the regular format of the mat. So we have to be careful about those things because of the responsibility.
I have no other questions, but just one comment from Bhaskar Rajamani. He said, Namaskaram, Mani Mama. On Father's Day and our temple anniversary, thanks for spending your time with us and enlightening us on our acharyas and their history and work. We are very blessed. Our humble pranams to you.
Thank you so much, Rajamani. You are going with Bhaskar or Rajamani? How do you call yourself?
Bhaskaran Rajamani.
Bhaskaran Rajamani. So I thought one is his name and another is his last name is father's name or something like that. I am called Srinivasa Ekeswaran. My name is Ekeswaran, but Srinivasa is my father's name.
Bhaskaran on the screen now.
Yeah, he's Bhaskaran on the screen.
Namaskaram, Mama. Namaskaram.
Hello, you call yourself Bhaskar or Rajamani? How are you calling yourself?
Bhaskaran. Bhaskaran, Mama.
Well, I'm very pleased to see your puja room. It's so nice.
Namaskaram.
It reminds me of my own puja room. Anyway.
Radhe Krishna.
All the best. All the best.
Thank you very much, Mama. Now I request our chairman, Dr. Lakshmanan, to please say a few words.
Oh, Lucky was there. I didn't see him.
Yes, he is also on.
He's muted.
கேட்கறதுக்கு திவ்யமா இருக்கு கொடுத்து வச்சிருக்கோம் நாங்க we are separated by physical distance, but emotionally we are close as ever. The virtual world brings us close to you wherever you are. Rumba thanks, Mama. Pranams to you. Today's occasion brings me back when you, Dr. Gauri Shankar, Ritviks all went up with all the holy water. We had the Kumbhabhishekam. We are getting close to the 12th year. And a lot has happened in the 11 years. And we in Toronto, we in Canada are blessed that we could get ourselves associated through Acharya's blessing, Sharadamba's blessing. We gotten to know you, share your thoughts, your guidance and mentoring, whether it is physically or sharing your jnana. So generously you give it to everybody. You know, and your humility with which you share your thoughts, that we have to learn a lot from you. You know, academically you might have achieved, but spiritually what you have achieved, even our Sannidhanam, Mahasannidhanam recognized, giving you the title Dharmatma. We, நம்ம தமிழ்ல சொல்வா, போட சேர்ந்த நாணரும் மனம் பெற்குன்னு, நாங்கெல்லாம் நாராயணன் கூட வந்து மாலையா போய் ஆம்பாளுக்கு போய் அடைய முடியுது. So that is our blessing, that your company, your guidance helps the community in Canada. We have long way to go. Today I was talking during our anniversary speech, all wonderful thing, what more can we accomplish? And SVBF Toronto itself, through the Jnanasudha event that Paramanda, Alaka and Ravi have initiated, that brings many scholars to come together and teach their knowledge to the community in GTA. You know, these activities, along with what we do for seniors, COVID brought this constraint, the physical space, but with the virtual space, we have been helping, serving the seniors, whether it is healthcare or the limitation with the emotional challenges that they go through. And also all our religious activities from the temple, Mama, we continuously take them to their home. So with all the difficulty challenges they have, they're able to enjoy whether our Lalita Sahasranama, our Tirupazhi Bhajane, our Hanuman Chalisa, our devotees religiously take. And these all things happen with the support and guidance through you and Sharadamba and Acharya. And we are blessed in Canada that we have people like you to help us, guide us, continue to do it, and we request you to help us in coming years. We are hoping that this COVID situation will improve. We'll have opportunity for you to come and give us your thoughts and lecture, a lot more lectures. And with the virtual space, we can, of course, accommodate a lot more lectures, and we will benefit from your teachings and the conversation. Thank you very much, Mama. We are waiting for you to come to SVBF Canada, and we can spend some time together. Thank you.
I will wait too. I hope this traveling restrictions all go away and we can travel. Actually, even our other sites in Houston and San Diego, I'm not able to visit because, you know, the constructions are going on very well there. Yeah. So we anticipate the Kumbhabhishek maybe end of next year, or I'm sorry, 22 mid year or early next year in Houston and San Diego the following year. So work is going on very well. I'm not even able to go there locally. So I hope Amba somehow relieves this entire world from this pandemic. That can be done. Actually, it may be interesting for you to know that in our Detroit center, we did the COVID vaccination for about 2,000 people.
Oh, I see.
In our center. So it's really very, very, very nice. It wasn't, because that way the community got to know of us instant local community.
Yeah. You know, Mama, I want to re-emphasize, we just finished our anniversary, and people went to their home, immediately they got connected with your lecture. So our anniversary program continues, and it's a blessing that we're bringing the event close with your lecture and these good thoughts, and people can carry not only physically what they saw with Abhishekam and with Ritvik chanting, but we are bringing our event anniversary close with your lecture, bringing Sringeri close to us, Acharya close to us.
It was my good fortune.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All the best to you. All the best to Happy Fathers to all of you and all those who are our devotees and everybody. So thank you so much, Paramji, for organizing, putting this together, Ramlaji and yourself, Dr. Lakshman.
Gopinath, you want to say?
That is SVBF, this thing's website and all are so everybody talks about it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Namaskaram, Mama. I really want to take this opportunity to thank you for sharing with us your wealth of knowledge around the Sanatana Dharma, and and painting a picture in terms of the lineage of the Acharyas as also their works. And when you you really struck a chord with us, I would think, because when you narrated to us the four things around Durlabham, right? I think it's so relevant to all of us, and particularly for people like me, who are trying to figure things out for ourselves. I think we lapse into that from time to time. So thanks for really awakening us around those thoughts, and making us conscious of those things around that we need to kind of focus on. And it is really fascinating actually to hear the lineage and also the relevance of their teachings in the current context and in the environment in which we live in. I think you've really touched upon aspects that will make us reflect a lot more on what we should be doing, as also how we need to practice ourselves and conduct ourselves if we really want to practice Sanatana Dharma. Thank you for educating us. I also want to take this opportunity. I know it's been it's a lecture series that's been started over the last 3 months or so. So this is the third in the series. I really wanted to thank Dr. Lakshmanan and Dr. Param Bhatt for laying down a platform where we are able to benefit from such talks, and also, at least motivate ourselves, and perhaps for people around us to start thinking, of the larger interest that and the larger purpose behind all of this. So I really want to thank the two of them for laying down the platform, and also to Dr. Alakananda for, she's been the architect behind the series of lectures that have happened over the last 2 months. And her leadership is really commendable on this note. And in addition to that, I'd like to also thank Sriram for managing the Zoom program today, Ravi, who's been our moderator and also been a publicity person behind the scenes, and Brenda and Murli, they've put together the video, which we saw at the top of the session, and Shrikant and a few other committee members who've been actively working behind the scenes in all of these efforts. So it's been thanks a lot to all of you, and thanks Mani Mama for all your time and your presence here on this occasion, which is on the anniversary. So it's been really very, very fulfilling. And I just want to remind the audience that, the third week of every month, you may want to pencil it down. Our next lecture is coming up on the 18th of July. It's by Swami Bhumananda Tirtha Ji of Narayana Ashrama, Kerala. And it's at 10 a.m. in the morning on July the 18th. Please mark down your calendars. There would be an invite that follows through, but please mark it down. Thanks once again. It's been a very, very fulfilling evening. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. I will now leave the meeting.
Hello viewers, that concludes today's program, and hope you all enjoyed it. And if you have any questions, please log on to the SVBF Canada website for any more queries you have. Thank you and have a wonderful day.